Hey everybody, welcome, welcome. Yes, amazing.
Oh,
All
good
right.
evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this evening for Upper West Side Live Tuesdays Afro Roots with the incomparable Kevin Nathaniel and our special guest, Alessandra Belloni. And my name is Amanda Hopper. I'm the Community Arts Manager at Goddard Riverside. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping things with you. Throughout the evening, the artists will be asking you to mute and unmute as the show goes on. So just to make sure that everyone knows, if you're on your phone or your laptop, it depends, but to be able to mute yourself, it's a button in the lower left corner of your screen or in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And the artist will let you know when it's time to mute and unmute. And we can also go in and help you with that as well. My name is Amanda again. I'm under Community Arts here, so if you have any issues, you can always leave it in the chat, and I'll be able to help you that way as well. And I think that is it for tonight. So I think we'll get started with the fun part of the evening. And with no further ado, everyone, Kevin Nathaniel and Afro Roots.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be back here with Afro Roots Tuesdays. It's such a pleasure to see you all virtually. I have to go on the gallery, but it's so great to see you all. Thank you for coming to support Afro Roots Tuesdays. We are a bi-weekly music series that brings to you music from all over the planet. A lot of the greatest artists on the planet are actually coming to play Afro Roots Tuesdays now. And because I think it's the word of mouth. We don't have a big advertising budget, but we do have a lot of street cred, and we do have people saying good things about Afro Roots Tuesdays. So maybe it's the word of mouth because we've got artists from, believe me, every country that wants to play Afro Roots Tuesdays, and we are open to that. Afro Roots Tuesdays has artists from every country playing Afro Roots Tuesdays. Someone might ask why. Because there's no separation between Afro Roots and any other kind of art form. There's no line that you can draw between Afro Roots and any art form on the planet. There is a thread. There is a thread through for everything. So we say Afro Roots. We say human roots. Now I'm getting feedback.
If I can mute.
Are we still getting? Yeah, the feedback's still. Let me check. Yeah, feedback loop.
You're not on another audio, are you, Kevin?
Yeah.
You just
Try
have
again.
one audio input?
Me? I just have one audio input. I'm not feeding back now.
Okay, great.
All right, good. Okay, sorry for that moment of station identification there. We are back. We're back on planet Earth. We were on Mars for just a second there, but now we're back, and we're happy to be here with Afro Roots Tuesdays, which definitely happens on planet Earth. And again, thank you all for coming out. We do this every 2 weeks. We exist by, of, and for you. You all really are the people that produce Afro Roots Tuesdays by showing up. Everybody here who works with Afro Roots Tuesdays is doing this totally voluntarily because we love this. This is what we love. And as I said before, this is why we do it so well, because we love it. And we are committed to this. And I hope you're going to see, definitely during the night, why we're so committed to this, because it's all love, you know? And we exist by the fact that you tell other people about it too. So please tell other people about it. Please post about it and tell people what a good time you had here and what beautiful music you heard. We've been doing this since 2013, and we started down in the East Village. And the East Village, of course, a lot of those buildings get bought up by developers, so developers bought up the building we were in, send us out on the street, and we were looking for a new place to present Afro Roots Tuesdays, and for some reason, some luck, serendipity situation, wound up in a meeting with Susan Macaluso, the director of Goddard Riverside. And I explained to her the plight of Afro Roots, that we were homeless, but we were producing quality concerts for music artists all over the world, and people in New York City. They weren't crazy expensive, but high artistry. And she said, bring the whole thing here. And since that time, which is September of 2013, Afro Roots Tuesdays has operated out of Goddard Riverside. And it's been such a beautiful experience being at Goddard Riverside. We've had the full support of Goddard Riverside and been able to bring artists, I would say on the average about 150 artists every year flow in and out of playing Afro Roots Tuesdays. They are connected with audiences that perhaps they wouldn't have connected otherwise, or maybe they would have. But they're connected with the warmest audiences in the world, people who come and dance to the music and support them and give them so much love back, that every artist that's ever played Afro Roots Tuesday says the same thing. They say they'll be back and they'll tell other people about it because the love is there, the vibe is there. We're not a wine and cheese experience. We're not a museum experience. We're an experience where people get to talk to the artists. They get to feel the artist's heartbeat. They get to dance right in front of the artist. You know, it's interactive. They meet everybody. They talk to everybody. We try to bring some of that experience online, but it's not the same online because, of course, everybody's, relating to each other just over the internet. But we do the best we can to keep that circular community going on. And of course, Goddard Riverside is a perfect place for that, because Goddard Riverside is all about community programs and outreaching and building community, supporting community. So we thank, first and foremost, Susan Macaluso, the director of Goddard Riverside, for saving Afro Roots Tuesdays as far back as 2013 and giving us a space to present this. We also want to thank all the staff of Goddard Riverside. We want to thank especially Amanda Hopper, who is with us today from Goddard Riverside. She is the first person you saw, and she's helping us keep everything on the road. Without Amanda Hopper, we don't know what we'd be doing here. The situation might be kind of chaotic, but right now it's really smooth and easy. And we want to thank Amanda Hopper. You'll be talking to her, and she's already been talking to you. We want to thank Gregory Cage. Gregory Cage is the tech and musician extraordinaire for Afro Roots Tuesdays. He might be with us tonight. I don't know if Greg's in the house. Greg, are you in the house? Okay, I don't know if Greg's in the house, but he will probably join us later. And he's been with Afro Roots Tuesdays since the very beginning, which was at Bleecker Street down at the Yippie Cafe. And he came right with us to Goddard Riverside. Sound man extraordinary, musician extraordinary. So he is the person I really want to thank. And I want to thank everybody who supported Afro Roots Tuesdays. You can support Afro Roots Tuesdays in a further way. Already you were supported by showing up, and that's the ultimate support, by showing up, telling other people about it. But you can also go another step. You can also go onto my website and donate $1 a month if you want to. That helps a lot because we have a lot of expenses, and there's no budget to cover that. It's just coming out of our pockets. But we have to do it because, as I say, we love what we do. So we're not going to sit there and hassle or worry about that. We just have to make this happen. And one of the things that help us make this happen is we look at the menu of what's being presented in clubs and venues around New York City, and we realize, oh my goodness, we have to keep Afro Roots Tuesdays out here for people, because we know what artistry New York City really has in it. We know that New York City has the most profound artistry that you ever want to find, but a lot of that same artistry, the profound artistry, the really deep artistry is not getting that action from the clubs or the venues that they deserve. I'll put it that way. So anyway, my name is Kevin Nathaniel. Please send an email to kevinandbira@hotmail.com. Make sure you're on the mailing list. I want to tell you now that I'm super excited to be bringing you Alessandra Belloni tonight here at Afro Roots Tuesdays. We're so thrilled because Afro Roots Tuesdays is entirely supportive of what Alessandra Belloni is doing, what she has given her life to. She has given her life to the chants and the deep music of the Black Madonna. And I'm not going to try to go into a lot of detail about this right now, but it's because we're going to be talking more and more about this throughout the night. But it's such a deep topic, and especially such a deep, important topic right now in this very moment when this whole world, the whole entire planet, is in the throes of a heartfelt cry to end racism, to end structural, systematic injustice. This entire planet, my friend, one of my best friends, sent me a message from Japan. He was just in a protest, a Black Lives Matter protest of 1,000 people in Kyoto a couple days ago. It's so amazing what's happening in the world. Now, let me also make this clear. Some people are quarreling about Black Lives Matter. As an African American black man, and I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not referring to a political organization. I mean those words exactly as they say. Black Lives Matter. Some people say, oh, well, that's a political organization. They are funded by George Soros. I'm not listening to that. George Soros has not come down my block. But when I walk down my block, I see Black lives. Okay? So when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about a political organization. You know? Nobody owns those words. No political organization owns those three words. Those three words belong to the hearts of human beings. So when I say Black Lives Matter, and when the millions of us do say Black Lives Matter, we mean exactly that. We're not talking about send a dollar to some political organization. So, and I can tell you that this protest, there was over 1,000 people in Kyoto, it just warmed my heart because we really have to see a global change happen, and we're on the cusp of this global change right now. But so much of the pathology that resulted in this dire situation that we have on this planet can be healed by this message that Alessandra Belloni has been giving us for so many decades now. And it's the message from the ancient world. So without further ado, I'm going to open with a song called Healing for the World. Why? Because the message for today is healing for the world. And the theme for today's whole concert is going to be healing for the world. So I'm going to start this, and I'm going to ask you to be kind, and when I ask you to join in, please join in. But for now, unmute. Amanda, you can help them with that?
Absolutely.
Great. And before we start, I'm going to ask you to join me with a deep breath. Exhale. Breathe in. That's right. We can breathe. We can breathe. And we start with the heartbeat and the breath from the center of the earth. Feel free to breathe with me. Here we go into the song. We're all in this together. We're all in this. We're all in this together. We're all in this. Woo, I hear you. We're all in this together. We're all in this. We're all in this together. We're all in this. Ooh, here we go. Ooh, ah. Hey, hey, yo, yeah, yo, yeah, yo, yeah, yo, yeah. Someone asked me what I would like to see. I'd like to see the people living peaceful, happy, free. Come together, talk about ecology, and dream a dream about how beautiful this world could be. Dream a dream about how beautiful this planet could be, with all kind of flowers and roses growing there, all between. This planet could be such a beautiful, wild, magical scene. Let's send a prayer out for healing for the world, and let it go out into the universe, and go around to all the planets, all the galaxies, and all the stars and the moons, and let it come right back to us. Yeah. And we be dreaming about a healing for the world. Yes, we be vibing on a healing for the world. Let's come together, chant a healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. A healing for the world. We're talking about a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. Hey, 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 hey. A healing for the world. Hey, 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 hey. A healing for the world. Hey, 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 hey. A healing for the world. A healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We're talking about a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. You need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. Check it out. Someone asked me what I would like to hear. I'd like to hear that we no longer have to fear this planet getting a little warmer every year. The Arctic Glacier melting away. The Amazon rainforest getting chopped every day. Nuclear radiation all in the ocean. Shh, don't talk about it. We don't want to cause no commotion. Let's come together. Keep this planet green with all kind of flowers and roses growing all there in between. Let's come together. Save the bumblebees, because if it disappears, then so do we. Let's come together. Save this planet Earth, because you and I, you and me, we know what it's worth. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We're talking about a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. Ooh, 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 ooh. A healing for the world. Ooh, 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 ooh. A healing for the world. Ooh, 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 ooh. A healing for the world. A healing for the world. Everybody, a healing for the world. Come on. A healing for the world. A healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. A healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. A healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. All the voices. A healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We want a healing for the world. Hey, a healing for the world. We need a healing for the world. A healing for the world. We need a send the beautiful energy out to the planet Earth. All over the planet. All over the planet. Healing for the world.
Set up the choir practice. Just hear Gary because there's just a time delay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. Now, listen, it is such a pleasure. It is such a pleasure. I can't tell you what kind of a pleasure it is, but I'm so glad you're here for this. I want to introduce to you the amazing, the very profound, very elegant, Alessandra Belloni, please mute your microphones, please. Mute, please.
Thank you so much, dearest Kevin. What an honor.
It
Thank
probably
Our first concert on Zoom. I'm really honored to do this with you.
a bunch of tracks on top of each
We're
other.
so used to be together on stage, right? Can you hear me? Is that okay? I can't
Alessandra,
hear. Yeah.
Alessandra, I hear you, but I'm going on mute, and so is everybody else for now.
You're not going to be speaking to me?
I will only if you ask. Only if you ask me to, but I'm going to be on mute because the whole audience is going to be on mute, at least for your first number. But if you want anybody to unmute, just let us know.
Okay, so if you want, I just start with my opening ritual, which we've done together many times on stage. And it's actually the summer solstice right now, so we're in it. In Rome, I was born in the square of San Giovanni, Saint John. I grew up with this old tradition of celebrating the solstice that comes from a pre-Christian time, like everything else that I'm going to perform tonight and speak to you about. So our pagan traditions were very strong where I grew up. So the sun god and the worship of the sun is a very big deal. And it also is very important today to bring the healing energy of the sun as rebirth, resurrection, and to get rid of the darkness. I feel we really are in a time like the Middle Ages where we've been going through the darkness. And I've been writing and speaking about this for many, many years, as you know. So my work is to bring people some awareness, enlightenment through this music. Not only the healing chants like to the sun, but the ones that are going to follow to the Black Madonna, because she is the one that then brings the right path, the sacred path, especially to justice and equality. But first, let's welcome the sun. The chant is called Yeshe Sole, which means comes out sun. I guess you can hear my ocean drum. A lot of time this is done by the ocean, by the sea. It is originally from Naples and it uses a Lydian scale, the Neapolitan scale, done in pre-Christian times. We already know that from many different people that wrote about it, Greek philosophers. They spoke about the Lydian mode that's used to heal and calm the mind. Scaglienti imperatore, scaglienti imperatore, Yeshe Sole, Yeshe Sole, scaglienti imperatore. Happy solstice. I'm looking forward to speaking with you too, Kevin.
Thank you. That was a beautiful song, Alessandra. I want to
I
ask
missed your
you.
Imbira in it. Remember, you played the Imbira.
Yes, yes, I played Mbira in that. Yeah. But I want to, I heard you, it's a very interesting how you hear something, but suddenly you say, oh, that's not what you said. But it's very interesting. You said Lydian scale, right? And I
Libyan.
heard you saying, I heard it saying Libyan scale, like
Oh, well.
Libya.
Why not? Our
So
southern Italian connection with Libya, Ethiopia is all there. So
that's what I'm talking about, you know. Suddenly I'm hearing this poetically, you know, this connection between Lydian scale and Libyan scale. Because, of course, if you took a trip through the music of Libya, Egypt, Ethiopia, you're going to find some scales and some tunings that you'll hear reflective in those melodies in southern Italy.
absolutely, yes, correct. Yeah.
And can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I mean, obviously, geographically speaking, we don't really have to explain that so much. The south of Italy is closer to Africa than the rest of Europe. And it still is like that. So mentality, the philosophy of life still connects to Africa. And I always tell people that even today, when I take people on tours to the south of Italy, I always say, please don't think you're in Europe because we're not. We still have that connection. It's very deep. So as Africa being the, I believe very strongly, everyone should know that by now, that it's the cradle of humanity. We have a worship in the south of Italy that it's pretty much everywhere. This is how I started my journey, is that there is a Black Madonna pretty much in every church you go to the south of Italy. And it's either a dark icon or a black statue. So, and the melodies that we sing, these archaic ancient chants that are pre-Christian, non-Western, come from there, come from North Africa, from farther south, a lot of them, like you say, from Egypt and all that area of the Mediterranean. So I really think we're blessed in the south of Italy that we never lost that connection. People are aware of that today. So it's not something of the past. It's not something you just read on a book of ethnomusicology or anthropology and all that. Of course, there are all of those books, which I read, most of them. But the beauty of what we do is that it's there, it's alive, it's done now. We chant and drum and dance for the Black Madonna now, remembering Mama Africa. So if you come to the south with me, Kevin, I hope that's going to happen.
That will happen.
You will see that with your own eyes, and people
It'll definitely
really
happen.
weep when they see it. People cry when they see this devotion. It's very strong.
Well, I'm going to mention something that, you know, for a long time, I was one of the directors of a big drum and dance school in New York City called Ferretta School of Drum and Dance. You might remember Ferretta. Sure. It used to be on Broadway in Houston.
Yes,
but
I took a class there too.
Yeah, you may have taught there before. But Ferretta had some of the greatest teachers from West Africa, from all over Africa teaching at Ferretta. But they used to have pockets of students from all over the world. And there were maybe 4 or 5 students that were from Sicily.
See?
And, you know, I'm going to tell you something, and this is between me and you, but it's for the crowd here. The Sicilians that came to Ferretta would vehemently deny that they were European. They would say that they were more closely tied to Africa than to Europe in spirit and in lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And so, and they were in Ferretta every day doing drum and dance. That's something I learned from talking to the Sicilians at Ferretta, you know.
That's fantastic. And it really still like that. And actually the most important, they are all important, but there is one sacred side of the Black Madonna that people who study this like me agree that it's the oldest temple sacred site probably in the world of the Black Madonna is in Sicily. La Madonna del Tindari. Since I'm at my house, I can actually show you the statue. Why not, right? Can you see her?
Yes.
So
yes.
in this beautiful place, Tindari, there is this great, beautiful statue. It looks very, very African, and the legend says, the myth says, but it's then, you know, when they study these things, of course, no, it's not just a legend, that she came from Ethiopia on a boat, and during a tempest, and that she landed in this beautiful place, which is by the ocean, not far from Messina, and she calmed the sea and she saved everybody on the ship, and they worshipped her as the, she was already a goddess, of course, from pre-Christian times, but that's the legend that this statue came from Ethiopia. And the inscription on her statue says "Nigra sum sed formosa," which means I am black and beautiful, from the Song of Solomon, and she's also representing the Queen of Sheba from Ethiopia. So this location in Sicily is very sacred, is very ancient, and she has probably the strongest African look of all the other statues. So it's right there on your face. There is no way you can deny where we come from. And the devotion to her it's been for thousands of years. We know this was a Greek settlement in pre-Christian times, and already there was a devotion there to the goddess of the earth, Cybele. So I think we're now today through this really difficult time. Really important to understand who is the Black Madonna, why she's important now, why she's alive. She presents the Earth Mother as a living being that we need to respect, and she represents the African Mother. She embodies both. And then she became the Mother of Christ, who was not white either, of course, because they were from North Africa. So
that's,
I wrote a book about this.
That's amazing, and that gives me the, of course, clue to let everybody know that if you Google the earliest painting representation of Christ, if you Google that, you're going to see a painting of a very dark-skinned Christ, and it will come up in Google as the very first painting of known painting of Christ. But we know also that there are plenty of other images, early images of Christ that are hidden. They are hidden in the Vatican. They are hidden in other churches and temples. They are not available for the public to see. So we know that this is the case, and the public should be aware of this, that a lot of the earliest depictions of Christ are not allowed for the people, the populace, you and me, to see. We're only allowed to see the much later representations of Christ.
But in Italy, it's different. So unfortunately, I have one in my wall on the other side of my apartment. The very famous one is called Il Volto Santo. Some of my friends are listening from Lucca, from Tuscany. This is not south. The most important tradition they have in Lucca, where they're also Black Madonna, is a huge, beautiful black Christ that processes once a year in September. The devotion is so strong, is black, no one questions why, and it's a huge devotion. So again, in Italy, Kevin, it is a bit different. People are devoted to the Black Christ as well as the Black Madonna.
Right.
It's not really hidden.
I totally understand. It's hidden for the rest of the planet.
Well, I think it's America especially.
Yes, but anyway, I'm going to mention that just because I was bringing this a little bit, but this is the perfect time to say, Facebook actually censored the promotions for Alessandra Belloni. I want you all to know that, the public out there, that Facebook censored her promotions because exactly what you heard her just talking about right now, which is just factual information. She's relating her story, her life story. When she wrote some of this information in her promotion, Facebook said this is political. This is political. And they censored her promotion. They wouldn't allow us to promote her concert on Facebook. So I want you to know that we are dealing with a global situation here, because this is a crisis, because the very same reason that a large tech company like Facebook would look at Alessandra's message and say, political, you can't say that, boom, censor. The very same reason is the reason why cops are killing African Americans at an alarming rate. It's the very same reason. It's the same mathematics there. As I said in a recent poem, it's simple math. It's simple math. And if we can get to the heart of this, and that means the heart, and change the heart, because the heart has to be open, and the heart has to understand, and the heart has to be able to listen very openly to this message that Alessandra's giving, because she's talking about the history of humankind. She's not talking about races. Race is not involved with this issue. This is humanity. This is all of us. This is the whole planet. So we're not even talking about black, white, green, yellow, anything like that, because any race that you're talking about is particularly the direct result of UV lights from the sun. because everybody's the same. Everybody's got the same stuff. But if you're having a different UV light relationship, depending on what part of the geography of the earth you're on, you're going to wind up having a slightly different skin color. So they're going to label you a race. But that's about as crazy and as labeling you pink elephant. So I'm telling you right now that we're caught up in madness, and we have to be able to shake that madness off. And so to be able to shake this madness off, we have to be able to embrace and listen to the message that Alessandra's giving, because it helps us to shake free of that madness. But with that said, Alessandra, I want to give it back to you and say if you want to.
I think it's really important to go into the sacred aspect of this tradition. If people understood, we all come from the same place. We all come from the womb of the earth. We come from Africa. The Black Madonna represents the unconditional love of the universal mother. And she also protects the outcasts, the poor, the people who suffer. If people really understood that deep meaning, we would be in a much better situation. My book came out last year, Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna. I think where I speak about all these issues and all my research, my personal healing experience. And right now, I think it's more important than even last year. But so people listen. And my main thing really is always to say, why is it in America people are not aware that there are Black sacred images? It's really something that I still find very strange. When I travel to Italy and people come with me that are African American or Black from other places, and they see these sacred big Black statues and worshipped by people of all colors, white or Mediterranean, people start weeping because they're not taught that the original sacred images were Black. And this is something I hope I can help change. Worship that image Black. And that Black Madonnas, by the way, before I sing the next song, are the patrons of all Catholic countries. Please listen to this. This is not something I made up. It's history. It's true. All Catholic countries have a patron Madonna. She's not white. She's Black. Italy is Loreto, Einsiedeln in Switzerland, Częstochowa in Poland, and Montserrat in Spain, Chartres in France, and I keep going forever. So just remember that. The Catholic Church had to embrace the ancient worship of Isis, the first Black Madonna, so to speak, and each country has a patron Madonna, and she's Black, not white.
Amazing.
So, you know that? Did you know that, Kevin?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, they're listed in a book called The Call to the Black Virgin by Inbag, in case you want to check it out. So I want to dedicate this prayer that I wrote in Latin, Nigra sum sed formosa, the Madonna that I spoke about before. I'm Black and beautiful. So to the Madonna from Tindari, from Sicily, it's my prayer to her and to all of us. Nigra, nigra sum, nigra, nigra sum, nigra sum, nigra sum, nigra sum sed formosa, nigra sum, nigra sum, nigra sum sed formosa, nigra sum, nigra sum, nigra sum sed formosa. Ave Maria, Magna Mater, Stella Maris, gratia plena. Ave Maria, Magna Mater, Stella Maris, gratia plena. Regina Celi, refugium peccatorum. Beate Maria, liberorum. Beate Maria, Madonna del Tindari.
Beautiful, beautiful. Uh, Alessandra,
Yes.
would you tell us what the words again to that song mean? There's a chant that's going.
It's a chant, it's a prayer in Latin. I
Okay.
studied Latin, you know, we all have to do that in Italy, but I also chose it. So it's an Ave Maria. So it's calling her first, I am black and beautiful. And then the Ave Maria that I composed is a series of prayers where we say, Mater Dei, o clemens, o pia, o dulcis Virgo Maria. Mother of God, you are the one that has mercy. Oh, sweet Mary, pray for us. So it's what we would call litania. Magna Mater gloriosa, Mater eterna misericordiosa. So great Mother, full of glory, you are the great Mother that has mercy on us. So people
Amazing.
who have, you know, gone to Catholic Church and studied Latin may know this, what we call litania. I put it together for her, for the Madonna of Tindari, with the music, though, it's by John La Barbera, that you know, actually, with Paris.
Yes, yes.
And this
Amazing.
was part of our opera. So what I think it's interesting, that I had this vision, maybe I can share that story, that when I started this music back in 1980, a long time ago, I didn't know about the Black Madonna, but I saw them everywhere when I traveled in the south of Italy, and I saw the rituals, the drumming, the dance, the trance. I experienced incredible supernatural moments in these rituals. So my quest was, why is she black? Why is Madonna black? And the priests never told the truth. They would say she's black because she's black, which is like a great answer. Or it's the candle smoke. That's the best part. It's the candle smoke. So, and of course, I realized that I had to follow her, but she was actually calling me. I think most people that are on a sacred journey like that realize that she calls you in without you knowing it, you know? And then I got sick and I had a vision over my bed after I had a surgery from cancer cells in the cervix, that the Black Madonna appeared to me over my bed telling me to follow her and that I had to feel her pain and other people's pain. That was back in 1986, and this is actually the beginning of my book. And so in that, I started to understand that I was supposed to write something for her, because like you as an artist, our inspiration comes from the divine if you do healing music, but then you have to bring it out there. And I wrote an opera with John La Barbera called The Voyage of the Black Madonna in 1991, dedicated to Black Madonna, with the legends that we learned. They're called the Seven Sisters. So I could introduce the next Madonna talking about the Seven Sisters if
Yes.
you want.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
again, my experience with her was very strong. The vision, I remember it as yesterday. So as I travel, and especially in the area of Naples, there is lots of Black Madonnas there, but the one that was really famous, it still is La Madonna di Montevergine. I don't know if you can, she's right here on my right, but I don't know if you will hear from her.
Okay.
But she's a very important Madonna. In the legend of, they say there are 7 Madonnas, there are 7 sisters, and the last one is believed to be the ugliest, so she runs away to hide on a mountain. So the people have to really work very hard to find her, because they have to climb this mountain. And when they find her, they find out that she's the most beautiful of all, and she's black. And they call her Mamma Schiavona, the serving, the nurturing mother. And that huge icon on this mountain also has the same inscription, Nigra sum ser formosa, I am black and beautiful. And that mountain was also a sacred temple to the goddess Cibele, the goddess of the earth, a black goddess that people honor then with the drums, with the frame drums. And today we still honor her with this drumming called Tamoriata, which last time we played together, you and I did a duet for.
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can find my...
Okay, so I'll do a little chant for this Black Madonna, and then we can do that little Tamoriata.
Yeah, let me see if I can find my shaker ring. Hold on.
Alessandra, would you mind showing the figure again?
It's on my left. You see how far?
Oh, sorry. I can't, but the one behind you that you showed earlier. I'm sorry. I should have been more specific.
Which one? Behind me?
Yes, the one that you showed earlier. The from
the
start.
statue.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Thank.
And actually, when I say the patron Madonna of Italy is La Madonna di Loreto, this is it. She is totally a goddess, you can see, with 7 moons. So it's totally esoteric and very well known. People that go, go to that pilgrimage from all over Italy, and that's in the center of Italy. So the Madonna di Montevergine, Mamma Schiavona, is a very beautiful Byzantine icon. So the other interesting thing they say that the first painter to paint Mary and Jesus was Saint Luke, and he knew them personally, so he painted them as they really were, dark. So all these Byzantine icons are really dark brown skin. They're attributed to Saint Luke. Obviously, that's not possible that he spent hundreds of years painting them. But the beauty of this is that he probably was the first one to paint them, and he painted them as they really look. Dark brown skin. So, before we do our duet, a chant to the Madonna di Montevergine. I don't know if people that are listening know this chant. Some of my students know. They could sing along, I'm not sure. If you do know it, sing along. It's a very powerful prayer in the Lydian scale. E salim stun cagnone e amma truva mamma schiavona e amma truva mamma schiavona che bello acchietana Madonna e ma pare ne doi stella e mi pare ne due stelle illuminate, mamma mia sei incurunata, mamma mia sei incurunata, e con tutta sta compagnia, state buone Madonna mia. State bene Madonna mia, si l'aiutissima venute, quante grazie t'abbiamo avuto, quante grazie t'abbiamo avuto. Ready, Kevin?
Ready. That's gonna be keep going.
playing it with you, though. It can't happen again, right?
Yes, it will. That was beautiful.
Grazie.
That was beautiful.
That's a beautiful dance, remember, with the castle dance?
Yes, yes.
Actually, the video that I posted of you and I playing and my dancers, Francesca and Peter, it's getting, it's almost 2,000 hits in a couple
Yeah,
of
well, I know why. It's got good energy. It's got this real good energy. Every time I saw the video, I'm totally drawn into it. I'm like, whoa, that's really wonderful to see. You know, all the dancing, which actually brings me to the point. A couple things I want to mention. Everybody, please, if you look at the chat, you're going to see Alessandra's website. Please visit her website, find out where she is, what she's doing. Also, donate to Alessandra, because you see, we are paying very nominal amounts or donations, and actually you can come to Afro Roots Tuesdays totally free, because we want to make it that way. We don't want to put a high bar over this. We want everybody to be able to walk into this experience if you want to, because this is healing and this is medicine. We don't want to put a high bar over medicine. We don't. We want people to be able to access this and walk into it for free if they have to. And if you donate to get in, which is, we have a $10, that's a low bar donation. That's beautiful because it helps. It goes, all of it goes to the artist. But feel free to go on that artist's website and donate some more money, because the artist needs help. As every artist needs help in this time period, because why? All the art performance, all the pathways for artists got shut down because of this thing, you know. So a lot of us who are doing performances, we had a schedule, we had performances every couple of days. That's not on our schedules anymore. That's not happening, you know. And there's there's nothing telling us when they're going to open that back up yet. There's nobody telling us, oh, then by June or by August, everything will be fine. Nobody's telling that to us. Restaurants are starting to open up already. A lot of businesses are starting to open up already. But of course, we don't see concert halls opening up already. And we don't see people opening up music venues or concert venues or anything, or classes or dance classes or music classes. We don't see all that opening up yet, you know. And so what I'm saying is every artist needs help right now. Any kind of help that you can give is very important. And it's very important for artists who are carrying cultures with them. Because when you carry a culture, then you are a library. And so if you see an artist like Alessandra, she's a library. She's a library. You'll have to support that, because there's nobody, oh, well, she's not here, let's go to someone. No, there's not another alternative. There's not somebody else you go to get this information from. And believe me, we're just at the tip of the iceberg with Alessandra right now. We're talking about all this stuff. We're scratching the tip of the iceberg. We're scratching the tip of the iceberg. And if we would have to be here for another 4 or 5, maybe another couple weeks continuously to be able to get a chance to really understand all that she's talking about. And one of the things that I want to mention, though, is that I got the feeling from the last song that she was playing, and I get this feeling too. I get this feeling sometimes when I hear music in the Black church, that there's a healing experience coming from the music. And music has that within it, the ability to bring forth a healing experience. And that's an experience that I'm going to describe it this way. You are laughing and crying at the same time. Do you know what that feels like? To be laughing and crying at the same time? Do you know what it feels like to have an ailment and see it walk away from your body immediately? Do you know what it feels like to be hurt and to stand up and dance? Do you know what it feels like to be injured and stand up and dance? Have you seen that? I've seen it. Have you experienced that? I've experienced it. It's real. And music has this in it. Music has this in it. And music that has this tradition. You see, the African traditions of music have had this tradition for thousands of years of putting together sounds, rhythms, and melodies in such a way that it overtakes your body. So that if your body or mind is experiencing anything that is causing your frequency to be off, it's going to adjust your frequency and put it on. It's going to adjust your frequency and put you in a space where only healing can exist. Only healing can exist. And music has that capacity. Music is medicine before medicine existed. Absolutely. Medicine comes from music. So I heard this in the song that she was just doing. And I want, Alessandra, I want you to speak some more about healing and music because I know that's your field.
Well, that's my field. As you know, I lead workshops called Rhythm is the Cure because I have experienced that. I cured myself from irregular bleeding and another disorder that I had with the dance of the tarantella, the pizzica, which is a 6/8 rhythm. And so after I healed myself in this dance, I realized so there's a whole story behind the tarantella. That could be a whole other concert another time. But that experience of canceling a surgery after I had the first surgery, I was supposed to go for another one because I was sick again, but I danced it and it went away. Brought me to teach healing workshops, especially to women, a lot of women who suffered abuse and domestic violence. So that experience, like you're saying, it's real. The moment that you play, especially the 6/8 rhythm, which comes from Africa, and even if we play different accents, it's still the same rhythm. It's always a 6/8, and it induces trance. The moment that people let go of their ego, their mind, and you enter the spirit world, and our, I would say, our duty as the shaman with the drum is to really take care of that person who's sick, keep drumming and keep drumming and keep going until you feel, which happens usually in a vision at that during that ceremony, that that person can let go of the trauma or that whatever disorder she had, it's gone. This is not something that maybe sounds a little strange or crazy. I've experienced it for over 20 years, so many times, and I'm very happy to say that I've helped a lot of people, especially women, come out of trauma or certain disorders like cysts or things like that that are things that are stuck in the womb, especially women who've been abused. And that 6/8 rhythm is also played for the Black Madonna, especially this one. You can see this one well, La Madonna dei Poveri, Our Lady of the Poor, from Calabria. And I know, Kevin, you've seen me do this song, and we played it together on stage. And I always say that, even in the last show we did together, before the whole virus came up, that I feel like we're back in the Middle Ages, where people live in fear of death by contagious disease, by wars, by violence. In the Middle Ages, though, they didn't take pills, they didn't do those things. They drummed and danced and processed with the statues of the Black Madonna, also another saint, San Rocco, Saint Roch. And in these healing trance rituals, they got rid of fear and they got rid of disease. So again, if you go to these towns in Italy, like Seminara in Calabria, you will read. And this year, with this procession and this ceremony, we stop the plague from coming into town. So I want to go back to those signs. Our that's our mission, right, Kevin? We need to bring that back.
Absolutely. It is our mission, and which is why I'll say this to everyone anytime, and that is that when the decision came by governments all around the world that they would shut down arts and that they would shut down all of the healing that arts can bring to people by locking out all of the performance venues, locking out all of these. When they said shut down that, and they shut down art and made that the first thing to shut down, and also it looks like the last thing that they will be allowed to happen again. You see, when they made that decision, then basically what they said is that the very things that we've been using to heal ourselves, to heal the people thousands of years, before there was ever such thing as prescription medicine, before there was ever such thing as a white lab coat, before there was ever such thing as going to see a doctor about in an office about anything, because doctors were somebody who knew your internal system, who worked with sunlight and medicine and music. That was a doctor for thousands of years. You know, it's only over the last couple hundred years that we got these guys who studied books and books and books and got a little degree and know how to order a little a little capsule for you to take. It's only for the last couple of hundred years that we've had that. Maybe only 100 years that we've had that, right? And have the people become healthier? That's something that you should check out. Have the people overall, populace, become healthy as a result. I can tell you already that you're going to find some very interesting result from that. And here's the thing. The ultimate healing comes from what's already here, the Mother Earth. That's the ultimate healing. The ultimate healing is coming from the sun. The ultimate healing is coming from the breath. The ultimate healing is coming from your thoughts and your spirit. That's the ultimate healing. So, what can apply to that faster than music? What can reach that faster than music? What can enable that faster than music and dancing? Uh, I don't think there's anything that can. So, this is why it's so important to actually make note of this, that we're talking about real medicine here. We're talking about real medicine. And when this stuff has been shut down and locked out, and I'm not gonna tell you just shut down, like vilified. Vilified. They've been saying that's the culprit. Governments all over the world tell you if you go do that, you might get that contagion. Oh, come on. That contagion comes to you because you're afraid and you're sitting in a room by yourself cowering. That's where that contagion comes to find people. The contagion doesn't come to find people who are dancing and laughing and smiling. It can't find those people. So anyway, we're talking about the real medicine now, which is why it's important to have Alessandra Belloni, because Alessandra Belloni heals more people in a day than a doctor heals in 2 years. Okay? It's just that easy. The math is that simple. Okay, so we're talking about the real medicine here, and that's why it's important that we bring all these things out. And I want to make one more mention because this is a topic that has me so fired up. I'm sorry. But you see, there's been Egyptologists and professors who for decades have been writing about these things that Alessandra's talking about. And one of his name is Asa Hilliard. Asa Hilliard. Listen to that name, Asa Hilliard. The other name is Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben Yochanan. I can't pronounce his last name, but you say Dr. Ben and Google that, you're going to find him. Dr. Ben Yochanan. The other is Sheikh Anta Diop. Sheikh Anta Diop. And there's a number of other writers who have been writing about these very same things that Alessandra's talking about. And universities have been shutting them out. They are been shut out, roundly censored by the university system. And you see, so we're dealing with a really big issue here in which a lot of the truth of who we are as human people on planet Earth, who we are is being denied us, it's being censored from us. And the result of it is not a pleasant result. We have a most deep pathology called racism. Racism is one of the most deep pathologies that exist among the human species that might well be a result of this kind of censorship, or should I say perpetuated by this kind of censorship. Anyway, I don't want to keep on this bandwagon too long, but remember those names: Asa Hilliard, Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Ben. These are very important to check out because back then they sounded like they were radical. But if you listen to them now, you're like, sure, what's radical about that? Anyway, let me give it back to Alessandra Belloni. Thank you, please.
Yeah, at the end, remind me to mention my book because I speak about this a lot.
Okay.
So on this topic, as you said, people danced it out, the fear of death by the plague. This chant is from the medieval times, especially in the times where they lived with the plague. They did this song, this prayer to the Black Madonna from Montserrat, Spain, and their sister in Calabria. And I put it together with the 6/8 rhythm. When we do it on stage, we do this very strong spinning dance, which is also part of many cultures. Spinning around your axis, that's how you expel the venom of the toxins that you no longer need in your body. And after that, we'll do that chant that I wrote to the Black Madonna from France, Kevin, where we can also have you on the Indira.
Ah, good. Okay.
So this is called Cunctisimus Concanentes. Again, traditionally done to send away fear of death by the plague. band because the imbira is one of the most ancient healing instruments on the planet, together with the kora, right? The kora is the
Yeah.
other healing instrument.
Yeah.
Very connected to some of our folk instruments, especially in
Yes.
Calabria.
The Zimbira.
I love that. I have three, but I don't know how to play it. I just love them.
You'd learn quickly. You would learn fast.
One day when we can meet again, I need a lesson.
Right.
So this chant is in French and English. It's called Sainte Marie de la Mer, a beautiful place on the coast of southern France where there is a huge statue of Black Madonna called Santa Sara la Cali. She comes from India and she is also a Mary Magdalene, very complex legend there. But she also comes from the sea. So that's why the name is Saint Mary of the Sea. And she's connected to the Mary Magdalene. They say that that's where the Mary Magdalene arrived. She's the patron of all the gypsies. So once a year, all the gypsies come to honor her with a feast into the ocean, which ties her, of course, to the goddess of the sea and love, Aphrodite, in the African tradition. Is Yemanja. So same tradition, same colors, white and blue and dark skin. So you want to start with your Indira and then I'll come in?
Yes.
No, keep going. Sainte Marie de la Mer, vous êtes notre mère. Sainte Marie de la Mer, vous êtes notre mère. Marie de la Mer, vous êtes notre mère. Marie de la Mer, vous êtes notre mère. Sainte Marie de la Mer, when the she can. Sainte Marie de la Mer, when the she can. Vous êtes la Vierge noire, on chante pour toi. Vous êtes la Vierge noire, on chante pour toi. Sainte Marie de la Mer, vous êtes notre mère. Sainte Marie de la Mer, vous êtes la Madeleine. Sainte Marie de la Mer, vous êtes la Madeleine. Santa Clara Lottery, you are the Black Madonna. Santa Clara Lottery, you are the Black Madonna. Out of the water, we come to you for blessings. Out of the water, protect us from disease. You are the Black Madonna, we sing for you. You are the Black Madonna, we sing for you. From North Africa to Italy, you have come to France. On what horses and with a new shine over the sea. Santa Clara Lottery, you are the Black Madonna. Santa Clara Lottery, you are the Black Madonna. Out of the water, we come to you for blessing. let's start
Yes.
with my composition based on also a medieval mode. And as you hear, I say, Santa Sara Rakali, you are also the goddess Isis. So I'd like to speak about Isis a little bit. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure
Yes.
people are familiar with Isis. So she's the most important goddess of all. That's when you study all these books that I've read about Black Madonna's ancient goddess worship. It all goes back to Isis, to Egypt. So there is a lot of fake history about Egypt, and people, still believe it's only 3,000 years BC. Way more ancient than that. I have a very good friend in Italy who's a very good writer, Armando May, who published many books, a real Egyptologist, who traces things back to 35,000 BC with all his calculations. So, and the interesting thing about the Egyptians, they had a big settlement in the south of Italy where there are all these Black Madonnas, not by accident, because Isis was also a black goddess, and she represents many things. Also the love that she has for Osiris and Horus. So she represents the first Madonna, the statue you see often with the baby, Isis and Horus. That was kind of taken from that by Christianity, by the early Christians. And all the history about her and her love for her husband, how she puts him back. She puts all his pieces back after he's been dismembered with her love. She can fly and all that. So she has magic. Isis represents really the beginning of time, the way she was born from the marriage of the sky, and she's the represents the sky, the earth, the ocean, the river. So it's very esoteric as a symbolism. But the very important aspect of her is the magic. She has magic powers. So in the south of Italy, where there is a very strong magic tradition in the region of Benevento near Naples, we have that because of the ancient Egyptians. A lot of people are not aware of that, but that's it. That settlement, there is temples of Isis everywhere. You can see it in Pompeii. They have Isis statues in many different parts of that area. And so that's a place where there is a very important Black Madonna, La Madonna della Libera. I'm not sure you can see her. She's on my right. And she, is there a way that I can bring her out? But no, maybe it's too complicated. But anyway, she's Our Lady of Freedom. I discovered her as I traveled with my ex-husband who suffered from addiction, and he had many problems, and he needed to be freed on many levels. And we got lost in the mountains and finally ended up in this little town where this caretaker said, if you need a miracle, this Madonna will do it. And we saw this most beautiful statue. She's huge, very beautiful, also sensual, looks very much like Isis. And after that, we discovered there was a temple of Isis there. We didn't know that before. And we saw, her crown with the golden stars, 12 golden stars. Suddenly, we saw the center star move and wave to us, and we understood we were receiving a miracle. Like Kevin was saying before, things like that do happen in these places of ancient devotion, and especially of magic, because Isis really represents that, the magic and the healing power. And my ex-husband became sober, he was healed, and we made a vow because of the miracle we received to go back every year for a feast on September 8th. But we like to do that chant a little bit. It's also important chant right now because she's Our Lady of Freedom. She frees people from injustice, and she is again the one who takes care of the outcasts, the ones who suffer, the ones that don't have other places to go to, but she embraces them all and transforms, especially her consciousness, their consciousness. So I'll do this chant. Maybe, I don't know if people want to sing along. Is that possible, Kevin? Or it's, I can say the words. If people are inspired, they can try to follow. So it's called Madonna della Libera. People who studied with me know it. When I lead the pilgrimage in the south of Italy every summer in August, when we get to this Madonna, everyone starts crying and going on their knees. She has a very strong effect on everybody. And it's called Madonna della Libera. So the words are Madonna della Libera, which means Our Lady of Freedom. Regina dell'anima mia, Queen of my soul. Queen of my soul, Regina dell'anima mia, Quanto è bella chiamare Maria. Maybe that part is a little hard. Quanto è bella chiamare Maria, which means it is so beautiful to call upon you, Mary. And that chant goes into another one, which is very simple, which is Evviva Maria, Evviva Maria, Ave Maria. So if you're inspired, you can try to follow, but at least send this prayer to free us all from all this fear, from all this violence. She can do that. She's the one that comes to my dreams all the time. Gives me very clear messages, and when I wake up, I go, that's what I have to do. And it's just the way it goes, Karen. I've accepted it. I have to surrender. You know, that's the thing.
Right,
Sometimes it's very hard to surrender to that.
Yes, yes.
Madonna della libera, regina dell'anima mia, regina dell'anima mia, quan è bella chiamare Maria. Madonna della libera, regina dell'anima mia, regina dell'anima mia, qua è bella chiamare Maria. Evviva Maria, Maria, evviva, evviva. You can sing Maria, Maria, evviva, Ave, Ave, Ave Maria, Ave, Ave, Ave Maria, evviva Maria, Maria, evviva, evviva Maria, Maria, evviva, Ave, Ave, Ave Maria, Ave, Ave, Ave Maria. These chants I have learned from these older women that I was so blessed to meet in the 80s and 90s. I've a lot of videos actually of this. It's also in my book, Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna. It's so beautiful. These old ladies walk for 8 to 10 hours barefoot, hugging, chanting and chanting, doing incredible harmonies that I actually, honestly, I admit I've never learned those harmonies. They're very archaic. They're not Western. And again, if you think this place was an Egyptian settlement, I'm sure it's connected to that, because a lot of ethnomusicologists try to figure it out, but they don't really know where they come from.
Right.
They can't explain the harmonies. And I swear,
Right.
I've been there many, many years. I never learned those harmonies. I tried, but then I always felt like it's not really my thing. I just don't understand I don't understand what they're doing. And they do it for hours and hours barefoot, and then sometimes they lick the ground where the Madonna has passed. And it's very strong. Yeah, it's a pagan ritual. It goes back to people connecting to the underworld. Isis also connects to the underworld and coming out of the darkness. So again, in this little town, Moiano, they're reenacting things that are thousands and thousands years old. And their region is Egyptian. That's something I always like to stress, because most people are not aware of that. But that area around Naples is called Irpina.
Yes.
Come
That's
with me
amazing.
this summer if we're all going to make it to Italy.
That's been on my list for a long time. And if
Yeah,
there's
like the
anybody, any way I would go to Southern Italy, it would be with Alessandra Belloni, because then I'd be seeing the real Southern Italy. I'd really experience the
And
culture,
the
you know?
people would love you, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, you know, listen, as a result of you, I believe I probably have a couple friends in Southern Italy already. People who've decided to follow what I'm doing musically, you know, some people. So I've got some friends in Southern Italy already. So I told him that I'm going to follow Alessandra there sometime. And you connected me with the director at that percussion school in Venice too. So
Yeah,
I'm still trying to
Venice
connect
is
with the people
very
there.
different from the south.
Yeah,
And
I
I
hear
just
you. It's
want to
not
put it
real
out there.
big.
I'm still, planning my tour in August, 4th through the 16th, through all these sites. And if we
Yeah,
can go, we go. But also, I'm working on a movie about this tradition, and that's really something I want to start working on seriously now. I have a lot of things written, and I really see you part of that because it's important to make that bridge between America and those traditions.
I love to be.
So that's
Now
not
we have
something
a
of the past; it's something today. I want people. It's not something
yes.
of the past; it's
Right.
today.
We have someone who's been asking via chat what the song before the Ave Maria chant. There was a song you did before that where you were playing the frame drum. They want to know the name of that song.
The slow one or the fast one? This,
It was yeah,
this
that
or
one, the
the other?
fast one.
Huh? This
That
one?
one. Dun, 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 that one.
Yeah, it's called Sainte Marie de la Mer, which means
Saint Marie de la Mer.
Marys
Okay.
of the sea. And it's in
Uh-huh.
my new CD, which is part of my book Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna. It's my composition though, and we arrange it
Great.
really beautifully. And I would like to
Yeah.
connect as we move into this journey. I want to connect to the songs that are connected to the goddess of love, the sea, Aphrodite, also Yemanja from the Yoruba. Um, I was born in Rome, and I don't know why my crazy father baptized me in the Tiber, saying I was the daughter of the river, which means Oshun, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that until I came to this country, and I was hanging out with the people in Central Park, and people
Right.
were doing the ceremonies, and I learned a lot. And I remember one day that I heard this rhythm, and I started freaking out and going in a trance without knowing it. And then they said, "Oh, you're probably the daughter of Oshun." I said, "Who is Oshun?" And I had no idea. I was just
Right.
like you, drawn to the spirit world with the drums, and the music.
Right.
And in Central
Right.
Park, people gather. I think they still do that sometimes, right? On 72nd Street.
Yeah, not quite like it used to be.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And that's what I learned, that I was a daughter of Oshun, and then I followed this path. And then with the research and the music, the Black Madonna, I realized, which is the conclusion of my book, is like, obviously, there is this ancient, beautiful religion of the spirit world, the spirits that protect us from birth. And I relate to that immensely. I always did. I didn't know what it was called. But, it's really the religion of the Yoruba people from Nigeria, Benin, that traveled to the New World. And here they had Santeria, Candomblé in Brazil. I find it really the most powerful, and the way to connect to nature. So again, understanding the earth is a living being, life comes from
Yes.
the waters, we come from water, that's primordial mother is the water, and that's what they worship in Africa, beginning of life. So Yemanja is the goddess, the sea, love, and the other one is Oshun of the rivers. So can I do a couple of chants dedicated to them? Otherwise,
Yes,
I'm going to get
please.
mad. You know how it is. You know how it is.
Yes, please.
I wish you could.
Please.
You can't play the checker with me on this, huh?
Yeah, no, I could, but it'd be
You don't
off.
think it's gonna
The
work?
timing would be.
I really
Yeah, the
miss
timing would
that
be
part.
different.
Okay, I'll imagine it. So one
Imagine
is a traditional chant to Iemanjá from Bahia, Brazil, where I perform many times. And the other one is a composition that came to me when I was in the Northeast in a ceremony with the Indios, and dedicated to Iemanjá, Oshun, excuse me, and the indigenous people also of Brazil, the Black and the Indians. Grazie.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, before I do probably your last tune or so, would you play a piece?
Yeah, I'd be happy to play a piece. One of the things I want to say to the listening audience is that in my early days in New York City, um, I was always being introduced to people who were considered the best in their field, right? And because I was, sort of alone in my field. In my early days in New York City, there were no other Mbira players. Maybe there was maybe one or two other Mbira players, but I was the only Mbira player. I met some. I started working with Spirit Ensemble, and they had a really great Mbira player with them who I'd met before. So we worked together. But there were very few Mbira players in New York City, and my maestro teacher was Efat Mujiru from Zimbabwe. I worked with several other Mbira players, but I was pretty much by myself in New York City. But then I started taking off on Shakere, and I became like sort of a very different sort of Shakere player because I had a different ear for it. But then the director of Latin percussion came to me and started telling me about other people who were considered the top in their field in whatever instrument. And the person who was told to me and showed me pictures of was Alessandra Belloni, because she was the top on frame drumming. At the time, I had seen Alessandra here and there, different places, but I didn't know her. I never met her. I never worked with her. But we wound up in the same catalog. There was a catalog for Latin percussion, in which they showed pictures of all the people. So Alessandra was there playing frame drum. And I'm thinking Alessandra, at the time, she was considered the #1 frame drum player, and she still is. There are other frame drum players, but listen, let me tell you the difference, okay? Frame drum, in Alessandra's tradition, it's a channel. It carries the culture. It carries so much more, but the frame drum is part of it. Right? So when you see Alessandra playing, she's actually bringing a whole huge wave of other stuff with the frame drum. So the frame drum is actually part of this whole larger field of events going on. And with some of the other people who were considered the top frame drum players, that's their thing. They're just playing that frame drum, and they are just playing it very well. But I'm going to tell you something, that the tradition that she's coming from is so much more holistic and organic that she can't be compared in that sense to other frame drum players. Because when you're talking about her frame drum playing, you're talking about, as I said, you're talking about an iceberg, and you're looking at the tip of it. When you hear her playing frame drum, she's carrying a whole massive amount of music, and that is part of the channel of that massive amount of music. So primarily in the African tradition, she's using the frame drum, but primarily she's a singer. Because primarily she's bringing this vocal music, which is part of the community. And she happens, because of her dedication to the music, to also be the best frame drum player. That's a result. That's a side effect of being deeply involved with the music. But as for that reason, you can't compare her to other frame drum players, because if another frame drum player just plays the frame drum for you, they're just playing that instrument. But in almost every African tradition where you see an African percussion instrument, there's a body of music. There's a body of music that relies, or that's part of that music. So either that artist is creating music or they're playing the music that exists. But there's a big wave there, right? So I'm just telling you something as a side note, which I have to bring out because Alessandra, yes, she's the number one for what she's doing, but it's a much larger thing that she's doing. So if anybody wants to say, oh, Alessandra, she's playing frame drum, you're not getting the picture.
That's what Remo used to say, Remo Belloni,
right.
the owner of Remo, the founder. He used
Right.
to say what you just said. One thing is just playing technique, and one thing is bring. He was the first one to say you're doing shamanic work with the frame drum, and I thought it was, and I was really freaked out by that. I thought, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was in the 90s. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but he was right.
Yeah. But oftentimes people don't realize that, and it's very important to realize that there's a much deeper tradition, and oftentimes we wind up in the United States being caught up with this sort of idea that someone is just playing that instrument. That's all,
Mm-hmm. Because you have to be in a
but
box. You have to be in a
yeah,
box.
yeah,
In Africa, Brazil, Cuba, it's not like that.
it's not like that. It's not.
If you don't sing, play, and dance, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You
And it's right.
the whole thing. Yeah.
You have to embody. In other words, when you see somebody like Alessandra, yes, Alessandra knows the dances. Yes, she knows the dances because that's part of the culture. For me, I know the dances. I had to learn the dances. Someone said, "Oh, he's a dancer." No, that's not what I am. Okay, but I know the dances and I can dance them very well. Okay, but that comes with the territory. You have to learn the dances. So the same thing, but it's going on to Alessandra. She knows the songs. She knows the dances. She knows the drums. She knows other things. She knows the shamanic side of it because that's another side, shamanic side, right? That's the side that has to do with healing you.
That's the origin.
Right. So it's very deep. So anyway, Alessandra, sorry for that little
it's important.
tangent there.
You. I appreciate that.
I wanted to say, did you want me to do something now, or what did you, or did you want to do?
I was going to close with the shamanic dance pizzica tarantata, and because I'm in my apartment, I cannot be too loud, but I have to do it. Otherwise, I can't close a concert without the real shamanic tradition of the South of Italy. But did you want to do something on the checker?
Yeah, but if I do it, I would probably have to do just a short piece just by myself because, like I said, trying to sync with you over Zoom is
don't work. I know.
Yeah. So I could do something just for a short minute on the shaker ray. Yeah, I will do something. I'm going to use my lighter shaker ray because it might. I think it'll sound better on this little computer microphone than my loud shaker ray. So I'm going to go ahead and start. By the way,
I have 3 of them, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't play.
This instrument has a voice to it, and that's the voice of the shaker ray, and the rattles give you the bead sound. Seemingly simple, a gourd with beads around it, but it's a very ancient instrument, and of course it's used for ceremonies and for trance dancing. So here I'm going to open with the shaker ray solo here.
I can feel it that if you kept playing, I can go. Because it's right here in my headphones. That's the instrument that puts me in a trance like in a second. You play it like that. I want to talk about that, the importance of the trance induced by the checkere. I don't think I should play this one for the ending song. I want to play a different one, but the connection, so with the Africa, of course, and trance is the 6/8 rhythm, which you were playing with different accents. So the importance of that sound is really important because it helps people to let go of their mind, their ego. By entering the spirit world, guided by the checkere or this kind of tambourine, that's when people receive the healing, the miracles, the grace. I'm sure in Africa it's used a lot, right, to induce trance and to bring in, that's what they do, the job or the mission of the shaman or the chief or the, everybody has a different name for that. In our tradition is una guaritrice, healer is to go into the world, the spirit world, and in that receive the message to bring back the cure. In our tradition, it's done with this tambourine with the double row jingles, and that creates that sound. So I want to end with our traditional healing trance dance, which I've danced for many, many years, and I teach in my workshops, Rhythm is the Cure, the pizzica tarantata, very ancient form of dance that has to do with the bite of the spiders. So it was believed that if you were bitten by the spider, the tarantula, from the Renaissance to last century, people thought that you had to dance the venom out of the body, and the instrument that induced that cure, that trance, was the tambourine, usually played by women, because this is mainly a woman instrument. In ancient times, pre-Christian times, in Greece and Rome, women priestesses honored the different goddesses with frame drums and tambourines. So this is a tradition that comes from ancient Greece. Alessandra Belloni was called Magna Grecia. And the women bacchantes honor the god Dionysus in ecstatic dances and rites, and using this instrument with this rhythm. So the pizzica tarantata, pizzica means bite, tarantata means a woman afflicted by the bite. I've used this dance I used to heal myself from bleeding and from cancer. And I've taken it to so many people, so many women around the world in my workshops, Freedom is the Cure. And as Kevin said, women I met that tried to commit suicide, really suffering from manic depression due to domestic violence and sexual abuse, after dancing this for hours and hours, came out of trauma, stopped pills, stopped all of the things they were doing, which doctors gave them that didn't work, and changed their life. So this is not something I'm making up, this is the truth. And I have, in my book, testimonials from different people who came literally with me who experienced this. So I always like to say goodbye with this ceremonial drumming and song to send good energy, and just to say we've all been there, especially lately, with depression, oppression, repression, feeling caught in the web. But the music, the 6/8 rhythm, which is really strong African rhythm, has the power of breaking the web. Do you think I should use this tambourine, Kevin, or should I switch from this? What's your advice, my dear friend?
Use that one. Use that one in your hand. Go ahead, give it to us, because you got the headset mic on. Right. Go ahead.
This is the first time I do this in my apartment, by the way.
Your neighbors will love it.
Well, they all know me, of course. So this is the pizzica tarantata. If you're inspired to sing along, tiro la la, na 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 na. It's the beginning. It's a filastrocca, which is a children's rhyme, because this ritual that was done for 3 days and 3 nights had to do with especially women that were beaten when they were teenager, in their adolescence. So going back to that childhood, when you were innocent and still did not live through trauma, that's the power of that chant. Tiro la la, Either stop now or never. You know, this takes you like.
Yes.
So when we do this, we do it for a very long time. As you know, you've been on stage with us.
Yes, yes.
When everybody dances and goes on the floor. So the dance, I want to explain. I have a lot of links this on YouTube, especially when we do it in a workshop. Is the first part of the dance, first you spin around and stomp it, and it goes on the floor. So the person becomes a spider, and you move from your back up. So it's very erotic, very, very wild. And with that motion of your body and legs up, it's like usually for people, men and women, is when they release every blockage they have in this part of the body, from the heart chakra and the solar plexus. So the body moves and lets go of trauma or negativity as I drum over the person. And that is the shamanic part of the work. And that's what I love to do the most. Of course, I love to perform, I love to teach, but that part, when I know I'm helping someone who suffers so much, and I'm telling you, Kevin, I've heard stories that are horrifying from women and some men from all over the world of the abuse they suffer as children. And usually sexual abuse comes from that time. And the fact that you can help them get that out, it's amazing.
Right.
And then what's really incredible, and it's also in my book, is that a lot of people told me when they are doing that ceremony, they have a vision of the Black Madonna that comes over them. And I had no idea. I didn't know that happened. But that happens.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Amazing.
Our mother from Africa and the Earth Mother, she's there to help us.
That's amazing. Alessandra, we're going to wrap up soon.
Yes.
And it's been, I can't describe to you. I can only begin to be able to say it's amazing to have you here, but that's just, you know, a very light sort of comment about what it's been like having you here. I think everybody can agree. We could go another 2 or 3 hours with you very easily and not feel any way about it. Just be like, you know, following you the whole time, because it's amazing. You know, there's so many things that we touched on here that would literally be topics for a whole documentary, you know.
That's it. That's what we're going to do. Put it out there, everyone who's listening. We're going to make this film, Kevin.
Yes. It's absolutely important.
The title, I think, is God is a Woman and She's Black. But let's see if that...
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it because that's the title that Facebook would try to chase you down for, and let's let them come running. Yes. Oh, yes. I love it.
We'll see.
So, yeah, we've got to keep this going. I want to tell everybody in the audience there to please follow her website. Alessandra's website is in the chat. Write that website down. Go on that website, donate follow what she's doing, help her out, assist, take the classes. Some people
Yeah, I
are
have
gonna
ongoing classes right now.
some people are gonna jump right in there and start being part of your class and workshops. They're gonna go with you to Italy when you go and do the pilgrimage and the tour. They are. I'll be there too. So
Yes.
yeah, we're there with you 100%. It's been more than a pleasure having you here. You know,
Thank you.
it's the most difficult thing is to actually try to bring this to an end because I'm sure everybody here has got a million questions. If they could just be here
Yeah,
and
one of
just
my students is coming to Sicily with me. She's a
yeah,
great dancer.
right.
Yes, very good dancer.
If they could just be here and just ask you some of the questions that they have in mind. But if you got those questions in mind, you just go to the website and contact Alessandra directly through her website. She also has a Facebook page, but you know she's probably crowded out with Facebook friends by now. But you can find her on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too, Alessandra?
Yes, I'm everywhere.
Okay, so
This is our life. Facebook, Instagram with my name.
You can
All of
find her on
that.
Instagram.
I have lots of stuff on YouTube, but also on Twitter, but I don't personally use it so much. I don't like Twitter. And,
Right.
But if you want to see my stuff on YouTube, there's lots of it, lots.
And where can they buy your recordings and your books at?
So my book, Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna, is published by Inner Traditions. It's on Amazon and it's #1. The audio book is #1 under dance. Can you imagine that, Kevin? I had no idea.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it's still #1 for a long time. The printed version has been #1 now. It's among the first 7, so it's incredible. So Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna, Inner Traditions, Baron Company, Amazon, and also Barnes and Nobles. But my music, I think now everything is online. So, but on my website, you can see all the things. Also, the drums that I designed with Remo, they should be available again. They're just opening. They're beautiful drums. That's what I was playing. And I'm teaching online drumming classes every day right now. Some of my students are tuned in. I have been blessed, Kevin, like you cannot believe. I just started one day. I said, okay, let me teach online. Everybody asked me to do this before. And now I teach every day.
Beautiful.
Over 30 students. They're all wonderful. So there is a good side of pandemic and whatever it is happening in the world. And some of my students are in Minneapolis. And they're Sicilians originally, they're political activists. I could go on and on and on. Really blessed with incredible people.
Amazing. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll all travel to Italy. We will know by the beginning of July.
Okay, great. Well, count
Black
me in.
Madonna can open a little bit of, I think, the way. Right?
Yes. We'll make that prayer. And we're going to be out for the people, mixing with the people the way we should be, you know? Yes, the music is the medicine. The music is the medicine. And I think we understand that when we talk to Alessandra, that the music is the medicine. But it's so important to really bring the music back out so that people can experience the music live, you see, because that's a way more powerful medicine than anything else. I don't think there's a more powerful musical medicine modality than music. I really don't think there's a more powerful modality for healing than music.
Can I add to that something?
Yes.
When they did research on the piece I played, the last, they have accounts of the musicians who knew the cure for the people who were sick. They were paid more than doctors for centuries.
Yes, right. And which is
From
the way
outside the 1600s until the 1960s,
right.
They knew the healing. They were the only ones that could take care of these people who suffer.
Right.
And no one could. So they were getting paid way more than any other doctor they would try to help.
Which is the way it should be. It makes
I
sense.
agree, my friend. Let's go back to those times.
It makes sense that, you know, you go to see a doctor now, that's $500 out of your pocket, you know, and they get sit with you for an hour and they're going to prescribe you some little pills or something. But really what they really are prescribing to you are frequency. That's what those pills are, frequency. The pills are an energy. That's what they are. But very few doctors even understand what the frequency and the energy of the medicine they give you are. Very few doctors even understand that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the research hasn't been done yet to figure out what that frequency and what that frequency of that medicine that they give you, the research hasn't been done yet. But these musicians, this musical art form that's going on for thousands of years, these musicians know what that frequency is.
Absolutely.
They have felt it and they're channeling it, and it's going right to the where it needs to go, and it's healing people. And it's been that way for thousands of years. So somehow or another, we've got to get, and this is going to be our way out, because we need a way out of this, because actually this whole approach that they're using is basically incarcerating everybody. They're incarcerating everybody in their own homes. In their own homes, yeah. They're telling people stay in your house and lock the door. And when you come outside, don't smile at nobody because you got to cover your face. Hey, something's going on here. So what I'm saying to you is the real medicine is the music. People have to be engaged with the music vibration flowing through their body and through their mind. Did you hear the chant in some of those songs, some of the chants in some of the songs Alessandra sang? The chants, if you sang those chants alone, without the music, you just sang the chant, you're going to heal yourself, right? But then when you put them in a musical context, then they go through your body like medicine. So this is why this issue is crucial. We've talked about a lot of crucial issues, but circling back around to the fact that this is the healing. What she's talking about is the healing for this plague of racism we have on planet Earth too.
Absolutely.
We have a big pathology of racism going on, and we have to heal that. That's so crucially important. And now we're literally on the bandwagon to heal it right now. This whole planet is on a wagon to heal that pathology. So we're not going to get off that wagon. We're going to stay on that wagon, but realize that part of that process of getting us as a humanity over that is going to be music too.
Yes.
We're not going to be talking about the same old music. The music has to take us to that next vibration. So, that's where Alessandra's coming in. Music's going to take us to the next vibration,
And it is about energy and vibrations. It's interesting that I cannot really work in hospitals or places like that because I don't have a license and I'm not a certified therapist. But yet I cure a lot of people.
Right.
But I don't fit into that box of
Right.
with licensed therapists because
Right.
what we do is so ancient.
Right.
They didn't give you a license to do this. It's a joke.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and medical schools and medical practice hasn't figured out how to make a profit from that yet.
No, exactly.
So yeah.
That's
so
true.
until they figure out how to make a profit for that option is off the table for them. And they're going to advise people to do otherwise, which is why everyone has to follow their inner heart, their inner intuition. They have to listen to that. They have to also experience these things and try it out and see what it's like. No side effects from going to a rhythmist and a cure. No
Even
bad
it's
side.
secure, don't forget.
No bad side effects from that. So
No side effects.
No side effects.
It's true.
No strings attached. No side effects. Okay.
Only the Black Madonna appears
Right.
and you're fine.
Right.
That's the only side effect.
That's the side
Everything
effect.
on the Black Madonna.
Or should I say, all the side effects should be very positive. You'll have a smile on your face. You'll get up early the next morning fully energized. You'll feel great. That's the side effect. So we want to close off. We want to thank everyone who's come out tonight.
Thank you.
It's been so beautiful to have you here. This has been an epic night at Afro Roots Tuesdays. And we will, of course, after Alessandra gives us permission, we will take the recording of this and put it in various places, like maybe on YouTube and certain other places where you can go and revisit and see again what these songs were and what she was talking about. Again, you can go and revisit this. This may be a matter of days or weeks before we do it, but it will go up, believe me. Please follow Afro Roots Tuesdays. We'll be back with you in another 2 weeks with another amazing artist. We want to thank, again, Susan Macaluso, who has given us this space, given us this venue, given us this platform, made it possible. We want to thank Susan Macaluso. We want to thank Amanda Hopper for making this thing happen, making it happen fluidly. We want to thank Gregory Cage for being the tech and sound man and musician extraordinaire with Afro Roots since the beginning. And we want to especially thank you, all the people that came out tonight.
My friend.
Thank you so much for being with us. We'll be back. Please make sure you're on the mailing list for Afro Roots Tuesdays by sending an email to kevinandbeer@hotmail.com. Make sure you are on Alessandra Belloni's mailing list. Make sure you check out her website. And we are so thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alessandra, do you have any last thing you would want to say before we sign it over to Goddard Riverside?
Just to remember that we're all one, we all come from one mother, and that she has unconditional love for us. And it's really time to wake up, to help the Earth Mother. I believe that what happened with this global disease is that the Earth finally said, stop everyone, you were not doing what you're supposed to do to protect me, now you have to stop. And I really felt that. I read a lot of visions and dreams about that we had to learn the hard way to come back and respect the Earth. And the environment has already improved. Hopefully it will last for a while. I've been collecting images of the sea being completely clear in Naples, in places where it was good. So I believe that if we all listen to her, that's the warning. We need to really shift our consciousness. And with that, shift the consciousness that we have one African mother and really, as we're all one, and just love everybody. No more violence, please. No more violence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alessandra.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. I want to encourage you to follow Alessandra's work, and please have a great evening. Amanda, you there?
I am.
Take it away. Take it away.
What a beautiful and uplifting evening. Thank you all so much. And if you are trying to find Alessandra, Kevin, recordings, please send us an email. I put the contact information in the chat, but if you need anything else, we're communityarts@goddard.org, and we are always here if you have any questions or need to connect with anyone. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.